All right, so my camera is on. I just wanted to see if everyone can see that there's a not a bot on the other side because I don't see people or anything. I'm just going to put it off and let's get started because that will help for the data that we use. And it's not so important to see me, it's important to get the information. When we look at the markets, we look at so many different things happening, and sometimes we see reoccurrences, things that reoccur over and over again. And we want to sometimes, I've been always fascinated because I wrote a book on women and how they think, and immediately you're going to go, oh, is that possible? Is that like in 20 volumes? And my answer is pretty much always standard. It depends. Every time there are reoccurrences in the market, when there are things that are happening over and over again, I I want to know what are the possibilities of reoccurrences. And we've already discussed the facts that there are support and resistance lines. We can put the Bollinger Bands on the screen. We can see trends of dropping prices. We can see RSI and a whole lot of other things. But every one of us would like to actually be better at reading the market because a lot of people are finding it so difficult when it's certain time of the month, they are making money. And then all of a sudden the market makes a turn, a U-turn. So when, let's say, for instance, you are, let's take this indicator off. Let's say, for instance, you were trading and you saw the market going up. You say, ah, it's broken the resistance. Look, it's going to go up. And then you bought there to go and sell much higher. And after it broke the resistance, it actually came down. And has it made any? Is there something? Is there something very interesting or reoccurring over here? And that's what all traders need to find out because what made bit by bit Trading Academy different to any other academy that teaches you how to trade is that we taught people things that were not indicators and they were not normal for trading schools to teach. And we taught them certain things about the market, about the phases of the year and the moon phases that would make them look at the markets differently. That would and give them anticipation of what would happen next. Now, I don't know how many of you have joined Ponzi schemes or joined, and there was the triple M or MMM, and there was global, BTC global, there was MTI, and somehow I knew most of these people. I knew these people where they came from, and I knew where this will go to because a lot of the stuff doesn't make sense. Those people did not know market cycles. So if I told you that the market has its cycles and that there's a certain time of the year. In fact, I told all the folks around the 20th of September, sorry, 20th of August, that that was the end of the market cycle for at least 30 days. But there was something else that they didn't know is that the market moves in the Bitcoin market moves in 4-year cycles. They didn't know that. So when I told my traders that joined the Ponzi scheme MTI, and they said, no, this is good. I said, look, I know the guy that started it. He's a good guy. He had all the great intentions, but he didn't understand the market cycles. He said to the people, we will give you 2.5% or whatever, 0.25% per day on every single day of the market. I can tell you that. That is BS. No one can guarantee you any market profits in a downward cycle. You can only guarantee 6 to 8 months of the year of profits. You can't guarantee 12 months of the year. In fact, the safest way to look at it is 6 months of the year profits, profits, profits. But if you understand the previous lesson that I taught you about Fibonacci, Fibonacci teaches you to say, I'm going to look at the future. I'm going to project my graph into the future and say, where is this going to go? And anticipate where it's going to go. And that helps all the traders to make better decisions on their trading. So quite a few years ago, I'm talking about 2015, 2016, which is 9 to 10 years ago, I started looking and spending lots of sleepless nights. In fact, I used to dream about this in my sleep. Imagine you go to sleep and then you see graphs and you see graphs going up and down and you actually dream of what the graph is going to do next. And this is where it became exciting because I said, I need to master what's going on over here. There must be something that is more simple than just looking at the current graph and what it's going to do. And then it became exciting because every coin, every different cryptocurrency, even gold and silver are excitingly changing differently. So, for instance, the safest traders would trade, if you're a forex trader, you trade 50% of your funds in US dollars and the other 50% in rands. And as it goes up and down, up and down, up and down, your portfolio doesn't drop at all because you know that when the price drops, you can buy more dollars. When the price goes up, you sell them back to rands. But that's a problem because rand and dollar forex trading is really a boring thing to be in. It sounds fancy, it sounds good, but you know, we can predict into the future where this is going. So if you're a forex trader and you want to be clever, then you want to have more dollars than rands because that's more risky but less risky in the long term. If we put the rand to dollar over the last since 1980, we can see that the best thing was to have is to just buy dollars in 1980 because you would have 20 times, 19 or 18 times more rands today. So let's get back to this whole scenario of the moon phases. Now, when you go to indicators, and you type in moon phases, you can't get any indicator on that. If you go on to Binance or any of the other crypto trading platforms, you can't find moon phases. Sorry. I'm not sure why they've removed it. It's because it's not popular. It's because they don't want you to know about it. I don't know. But what I'm going to tell you then is I'm going to teach you about two factors tonight. Now, the moon phases and the seasonal changes is actually a full-on trader's course. It's what we called level 7 traders. So I'm going to try and do it in 40 minutes as simply as possible. And if it fascinates you and you want to, you know, buy that course, let me know. So I'm moving us to this particular graph. I'm going to simplify the graph as I'm going to try and explain it by zooming it in on what we call the trading view graph. I will send you the information sometime. If any time there's something you don't understand and you would like me to explain it, just type it in the chat box. If you type it in the chat box, you don't interrupt me, but then you don't either forget what you wanted to ask. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand this graph, this Bitcoin graph, and show you I've actually layered the moon phases on here. It's there already. So I've put in, before we started the meeting, I've put in on the graph all these upright lines, and then you'll see there's like a shaded blue area, and then these little round dots. Those round dots actually represent the new moon. So if you've been living in a city all your life and you don't really look up, you don't know when the new moon or full moon is, let me give you a little lesson, a little education lesson quickly, as quick as it's possible to explain. When the farmers are farming and they are planting seeds, they know that certain times of the month, certain times of the year, you can plant certain seeds. And those seeds would be in their season and grow, and you would want to plant those seeds before the full moon, the week before the full moon. Some you would plant in a particular season. So the full moon and the new moon and the first and last quarters, or the first and the third quarters, so the month is split into 4 moon phases. And so even your trading graphs are split into 4 phases of the moon. Your trading graphs are split into 4 seasonal changes. Now, how's that possible? How does that work? Well, for instance, there are seasons where people buy certain fruits, certain vegetables. There are certain seasons that people buy gold and silver, like the end of the year, around the 21st to the 25th of December. Those are good times to sell gold and silver, not to buy it, but to sell it. Now, Bitcoin is cryptocurrency gold. Litecoin is cryptocurrency silver. That's been known for many years. And so gold and silver can be traded on platforms all over the world, and the gold and silver price are totally undervalued. So if there's anything you have any doubt in buying any crypto, buy gold and silver on Altcoin Trader, and you can actually have it delivered to your home as long as you have it in single units, delivered in single units. You can't have 3.5 coins or 2.75 coins. It's going to be 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 full coins, which is unlike all the world markets. But let's get to the point. All of these little circles, you see that circle is the start of that blue line. Okay, let me just zoom this in. Circle is the start of that blue shaded area. That is called the new moon. So the new moon and the end of that blue line is called the full moon. Let's go back. Over there, that is the new moon, and that is the full moon. That is, there's a new moon, full moon. So all the upright lines are full moon, full moon, full moon, full moon. So what is it so special about full moon? It is very interesting to see how that certain things change when there's a full moon. And it's not necessary. It's just like all our indicators. It depends on the time of the year. So we see a full moon. What happened at full moon? Full moon was the end of a bull run, and the price then dropped. Over here, the full moon was the end, but there was a little bull run at the full moon, and thereafter there was the drop in the price. Over there, the full moon was at the end of a bull run. Thereafter, there was a drop in the price. Over there, from the new moon to the full moon, there was a bull run until a few days before the full moon, and then thereafter there was a drop in the price. So when you start researching this, you want to look at the patterns in the blue and the patterns in the white. The patterns in the blue, the patterns in the white. There's no time to explain all of this. You also need to know that when we put this on, let's take it on a 1-day graph. It becomes more compressed. But then what we need to know is that there are highs and lows in the year. There are 2 solstices and 2 equinoxes. So your solstice is June 21. You see, June 21, full moon. September 21, full moon. Or it would have been earlier. December 21. It's hard to work it when it's on a 1-day graph. You see there, full moon. Then March 21. So we've got 4 seasons right now. I'm gonna actually need to change the color so that it's a different color. March 21. Still not giving us. Okay, let's change this all to red so we don't get confused with. So ideally, our market should move like this. June should be a high and September should be a low. Let me just make sure that we're on a solid line. Then December should be a high and March should be a low. June should be a high, 21st of June. And September should be a low. September 21. So besides your moon phases, you have all the in-between phases. You also have the 4-year cycle, which tells you after every 4 years that Bitcoin should drop for a whole year thereafter. Are we in that cycle right now? There's a possibility. There's a possibility also that the Bitcoin price, if we look at these lines, these little dotted lines that I've drawn, are actually something else that I've drawn is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The parabolic is the parabolic market. In other words, it's gone 5 direction changes from very unsteep to very steep markets. And that means it's the end of the cycle. It's going to either, when it gets to this line, bounce up and go one more time into November bull run, and then seriously drop. Look, folks, I'm recording this, and this is all for educational purposes. This is not, I'm not saying this will happen, but I've been 90% right in the past, and I know that people want to make money, but people also want to buy bargains. And there's reoccurrences in the market. As we discussed that there's new moon, 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 but there are times those red. June high, September low. If we had to actually take a real support line on that graph for that year, then we would say there was our resistance line. The price went down. And then we had the price go up and the price go down. Price go up, price go down, price go up, and possibly price go down. Now, when we take all of these graphs over the years, there's nothing 100% consistent, because if it was 100% consistent according to the moon phases alone, you would make mistakes. But because it's not 100% consistent, your whole formula is going to work on how consistent is it. If it's more than 50% according to the consistency that you've worked out, that's a very good formula. If it's 60 or 70% consistent, then you know you're going to win the vote. It's going to go according to the way you think it's going to go. If it's 70 to 80 or 90% consistent, and you can bring other factors into the picture, you actually get to be a better trader. So this is all helping us to become better traders. We saw the last time the market went up and up and up and up and up. It dropped around November. Where are we now? 4 years ago, we are the 4th of September. So let's quickly plot the 4th of September. May, June, July, August. That's the quickest, closest I'm going to get it. Let's zoom in on that time. Look what happened 4th of September, 6th, 7th of September. The market dropped. How much did it drop by? It dropped by a percentage, 25%. 25% drop is serious. I'm reckoning it could drop at least 10%. Then there was one last bull run. If you bought then in that dip, because traders that aren't trading in two directions are making mistakes. You bought 25% in the dip, you made 73% on the way back up again. But then, how long did it take to go back up again? It was all depending on the traders, one solid year of drops, with a little ups and downs in between. What happens to traders when they're trading Bitcoin? The guys that are long-term investor traders, they're just buying cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, or just waiting with what they got. But I can tell you that there are lots of other new coins coming into the market that are being traded, and you can make money on those coins. Okay, so hopefully, as I said to you folks in the beginning, the not recorded part of this session, I said some of the stuff is going to fascinate you, it's going to give you sleepless nights. Some of it is just probably going straight over your head, and other you're going to say, I need to find out. I need to go and Google this. Well, on the full on level 7 training course, we talk about the 1920s and the 1930s. And I actually, after I'd found this out myself, I decided, let's see who in the past went and investigated market cycles. What is the cycle for the coin or the currency or the commodity that you're trading? Find the cycle, because when you find the cycle, you'll see there's lots of repetition. I was trading US dollar, USDT to rands, and all of a sudden, overnight, it went up 5%. My sell orders went through, and I thought, wow, there was some consistency, and I had the sell order in the right place that it could catch it over there. So there's traders that want to see, can they make 2 or 3% every day? Yes, it's possible. You can make minimum 1% per day if you know what to trade, if you know the cycle, if you know the moon phase. That will help you. That's besides all the support and resistance lines that you are drawing. So you're welcome to Ask any questions. There's 4 minutes left, and I'm waiting to hear. You're welcome to type in the chat box or just unmute yourself and ask the question. Speak or forever hold your
Hi,
peace.
Rob.
Yes, sir.
The dotted red lines, those you call them resistance lines,
Those are our support lines for
support lines.
the price going up. Yes.
How did you get to them? Are they another tool? Support lines.
Yeah, I actually just took a long-term on this. It's actually, it becomes very full and clogged up if I'm showing it to you this way. But what I did was I took the general support line since 2019. So this is long term. In 2020, April 2020, there was a new direction change that the support line became steeper. Then in 2022, oh, now I'm messing with the lines here. 2022, it became steeper until 23. And then I'll just somehow, yeah, this one just need to. Then up until 2024, August, it became steeper. And then 2024, another steep line up until April this year. And from April this year, we've gone into the steepest, it's called the parabolic curve of course, now we in the steepest place. And in the steepest place, they say on the fifth direction change, it's like when you're watching a wave in the sea, that wave is getting steeper and steeper, and at some stage it's going to crash. And when it crashes, it's a big bang, a big boom. So your market cannot ever just do this and this. It cannot just keep going up. So I warn my traders in good time once, and then of course that's the steepest line. It's actually broken through that steep line to come down. So the next place it should go to is this line. If it hits this line at $100,000 and bounces back up again, we know we are ready for another quick bull run. But the next place it will go to is there, 95,000. The next place it will go down to there is 52,000. So there's a correction that has to take place. There are good
Yeah.
currencies to trade. When this happens, gold and silver inevitably goes up. There's lots of good currencies to trade, or people just buy more, buy more, buy more in the dips. All right, folks, we have less than
It's a
one
good time to
minute.
get in.
Yeah. Does that kind of answer your question?
Is the support line a tool, one of the tools?
No, the tools, no, you will, the support and resistance lines are not tools, but you draw them yourself. So you basically go to your toolbox here. You make sure that your trend line is added to your favorites so that you can draw them in. So if we had to go to altcoin trader